Hello. In light of new admission criteria for the CBE class, we find that we have very many combinations, and it may prove difficult to group these learners into their respective um, pathways and combinations. So here I have about 400 or so learners who have been selected to a given school. But as you can see, we have they are arranged in terms of the pathways. We have the STEM, we have social science, and earth and sports science. And we can filter this information so that we can get each the number of each learning area, number of learners in each learning area. That will inform us on how best we can move forward. So the data was downloaded from Ministry of Education, the placement website. So in this, I will first proceed by creating a row at the topmost so that I can indicate the pathway and their combinations as a title. So I'll type pathway, and this will be combination. I need to count the number of students per pathway, and I also need to calculate, or rather count the number of learners in each learning area per combination: biology, history and citizenship, sports and recreation. So at this right hand side, I can implement the same. Alternatively, you can create a new worksheet that you can also use to get that value. But the pathway issue is quite easy, although you can see that there are very many of them. You cannot count them. So I will want to remove all the duplicates so that I can only get one instance of each. So I'll select the topmost part, scroll down to the bottom entry, then I press shift and then click the last entry. So shift means that I will select everything from the first click all the way to the last one. Then I will I will copy and paste this information here. So I'll just paste the information that or the data that I have copied, and I want to remove the duplicate. So on the data tab, you have a command to remove duplicates. So I will click on remove duplicates, and then I will have a window that I will input my data. Since pathway is a header, I will select that to say that my data has headers, so it will omit the header from the rest. Now I will select all the columns, it will remove duplicates in the column under pathway. So when I click OK, now 407 duplicates were found and removed. So we have only 3 unique values remaining. So that's a warning. Then I say OK. Now I have only 3 unique instances of the pathways. So if I want to know how many learners have been admitted into each pathway, I will want the system to count for me. So what I will do, I will click. Of course, this is where the number of learners, let's say number of learners. So at that point, adjacent to the arts and sports sciences, I will want to count number of learners that have been admitted to each pathway. So every formula in Excel starts with an equal sign, so equal sign, and then we want to count. So we type count, and there are many instances of count. Count, this also this count, it counts a non-empty column or a non-empty cell. Count A, count everything including blanks, count blank, it will only count blanks, then count if. So this is, it's a condition. So I will double click on count if, and then I have a helper here to assist me. So I want to find the range of data that I want. So the range of data starts from C2 all the way down to C411, C411. So as if I now that I want to select all items, I will press shift on the keyboard and then click the last item. So you can see that the points that I've selected are now highlighted. Now when you look at C2 to C411, that is the data that I want. So next is the criteria. What is the criteria? So when it looks when it counts, what does it want from there? So I will have to put a comma, then I'll go to criteria, and I want the data to be counted where we only have arts and sports science. So when I click arts and sports science, I can now press enter, and now it can give me a count of learners that have been admitted to arts and sports science. Now I will want to copy the same formula to social science and STEM, but something interesting happens when I click this point here. I'm forgetting the name. Then I drag it down. Of course, when we look at this, you have from C2 to C411, and then when we come to the lower one, it is from C3 to 412. So it means that one, in this case, one cell C2 was omitted and cell number 412 was included, which is not the case. It will end up giving erroneous results, assuming that arts and sports science, or assuming that we are not sorted according to the alphabetically. So to avoid that, we have an absolute selection. Absolute means that that range does not change. So you can make sure that the range does not change by adding the dollar value before C, that is the column, and then 2, that is the row, also adding a dollar sign C, and then before C, and then before 411. So that's absolute selection. So so what I'm going to do, I have a shortcut. I will simply press F4 on my keyboard, and you can see it has included it has inserted the dollar sign for me. And then I'll select the second case. I'll press F4, and it has also selected it has made them now absolute. So when I press enter and I copy those values down there, of course the values will not change because sports and arts and sports science are still at the top, so there is no omission, but we were just lucky for now. But as you can see now, the range C2 to C411 will now become static. It does not change for all of them. So for this case, we can now add the sum. We can go to sum, double click sum, then we select the range. You click the first cell and then drag down all the way to the last cell and then press enter. So now I have 410 learners. So this will help you to plan how you can have your learners or distribute your learners per pathway. So this is total. That is how you can filter out. For my case, I can cut and paste to another worksheet so that I don't mess up this worksheet. So I will select cut, then open a new worksheet, right click, insert cut cells, then shift cells right. So you can see now that it has inserted sheet 1. So sheet 1 is the reference. We have a reference of sheet 1 as the point where that data is. So automatically it has inserted. Now we come to the combinations. This is quite tricky because you need to know each learner, the number of learners that will take every learning area. So you can see that we have 3 learning areas per learner: biology, history and citizenship, sports and recreation. So we need first of all to separate these learning areas. Excel has a very simple fix for this. This is how we do it. Now let us go to the data tab, and then we have the text to columns button. So for our case, we need to first of all select all the values that we want to separate. For this case, I'll click the first and then click shift and the last. Alternatively, I'll just click the first one, the first cell with the data, and then drag down all the way to number 411. So that is it. So now I will now go to text to columns, and now for this case we are supposed to choose the file that you can now see that we can choose a type, a file type that best describes our data, and our data is not fixed width, it's actually delimited by some characters. So we shall select delimited. Then in this case we can choose what kind of character is the one that we use, or we use it to delimit the data. And now we select comma, then tab, so that it can insert the other the second and the third and whatever into adjacent columns. So now you can even see here we have a preview of the data. Then I will say next, then the data, I will just say general, and now the destination, you know, it will the data now will start from D2. So, and then I'll click finish. So for our case, you can see that now we have biology, which has been delimited. The first subject has been delimited from the second subject and also the third subject. So now I will make, or rather auto space or auto create the auto fit. So I will double click somewhere between the columns, and now all of these have been auto fitted, and subsequently we have separated the data. Now we have 2 ways in which we can count each amount or each entry. But first of all, we need to get each entry or piece of data. So the easiest way is I will select all this data. I'll select all of it, shift, click the last one, so it has selected all the 3 rows. Then I will copy, because I don't want to cut them. I'll use the same data to count, but I want to get one instance of this data. So I will create a new sheet and then paste all that data here. Once pasted, I want to arrange them into one clean one column, so that I can get only one instance of the same. So I will select the second and third rows, then cut, then paste the data down here. I'm sure there must be an easier way, but for me, I'll just go as per what I find it easy. But there must be some other way. So I will also select the data in the second row. I will cut that data as well. Then select paste. I will paste this data here. So once that is done, I will now select all this data. I will just click one cell containing the data and then Control A. Control A will select all the data items. Then I will do the same issue, the same thing that I did before. Remove the duplicates from column A, and from this column here, my data does not have any header, so I'll just click OK. So 1205 items were removed. How many items do we have now? Only 25 items. So I will now select this data, copy, and then go back to sheet number 1. Then I'll paste this data somewhere here. So there you are. So I want to get to know the count of each instance of biology, Fasihi, CRE, business, and so on and so forth. So I will use the same formula is equal to count if conditional statement. Then I need to find the range. I will select from biology all the way to the last third column. And now I'll simply press F4. So when I press F4, the data has now become absolute, and then comma to select the criteria. The criteria is it should have biology. So whatever it should look for everything that is every cell that contains biology, and it counts those instances of biology. I press enter. So now I have 147 learners that have been admitted to biology. I will double click that portion there, and it will copy the formula to all other instances. For we have Fasihi, so we have 39 Fasihi students, learners, CRE 96, business 131, geography 164. So you can see now history 122. I now have the instances or number of learners that have been admitted to every single learning area. This can now assist me to plan on the classes that the learners can be assigned to. Thank you.